Welcome to the Way To Arete Podcast. Have you ever noticed how hard it can be to focus these days? Why it can be so tough to get yourself motivated to do things like going to the gym or getting your work done or studying? A lot of people think this comes down to discipline and laziness, but the truth is you don't have a discipline problem. You have a dopamine problem. In this episode, we're going to talk all about dopamine, how it pushes you to accomplish your goals, how modern life is hijacking your dopamine and keeping you lazy, tired, and lethargic, and what you can do to break out of this cycle and finally get yourself to work towards the goals that actually matter. Have you heard about dopamine before, Mike?
I think too many times, man. Too many times. And dopamine is this thing that gets thrown around on social media so many times that I don't know what to believe. Honestly, I've done a little bit of research myself, not a lot, but I think I understand enough. Hopefully this discussion will help me and anybody watching get a better understanding of what dopamine is and how we can use it to our advantage, because that's the whole point,
Yeah. Well, without using too much scientific jargon, essentially dopamine is a chemical messenger in your body. It's called a neurotransmitter, and it signals your brain for things like motivation, drive, joy, but also pleasure. And some people think it works, what they call it a reward system. It's not exactly a reward system, but it works in a similar way. One of the main differences being your dopamine doesn't just go up when you get something. It starts already going up when you want it. So if I'm already thinking in my head like, "Oh, I want to have a nice burger tonight," my dopamine is already
going up,
and up and up. Exactly.
That's interesting, because that actually ties to one. I was watching this video the other day, and it was talking about like stop telling people your goals, and it was mentioning in that video that telling people your goals actually, not prevent you, but like that doesn't help you accomplish them, because you are actually getting a little bit of a dopamine hit as if you're like hitting those goals, like achieving something. And just telling people your goals gives you that dopamine, I guess, that, of course, not at the same level, but it gives you that dopamine hit. And maybe that's just enough to say it, then you never do it.
I can 100% relate to that. I've had times where I'm talking so passionately about something I want to achieve, all these plans and goals I have for the future. And then after, yes, you feel motivated because you've been talking about it, but you also feel accomplished. You feel like you're done. You've done it, right? So your brain confuses the work and talking about the work, because you get pleasure from both.
Man, got it. Sorry.
He's choking.
Oh, God.
Don't choke, man.
Gotta cut this out, man. God, that was horrible. I don't know what happened. Try to say something while I was drinking water.
You're supposed to first drink water and then talk. You can't do it at the same time.
Yeah. No, man, honestly. A lot of times I've found myself saying that I'm going to do something, then I don't end up doing it. And I know that I can 100% relate that when I say that I'm going to do something, it makes me feel good. And that probably is the dopamine hit. And do you feel like it's this way with other things, not just saying, but like, I don't know, seeing this live on social media, seeing that you could get this car or whatever. Of course, social media is a dopamine hit in a different way, but also, watching these things, do you feel like it's giving you that kind of dopamine hit as well? Or...
Yes, absolutely. And there's so many things that tie into it, because one, you're seeing these people with the fancy cars on social media being successful. That already in itself gives you dopamine. But then you also have everything else that you can just scroll past that's available to you. You have the colors of the phone. You have the notifications you can get on the phone itself. So you're just being completely bombarded with dopamine. It's just spiking, it's going through the roof. But what happens, actually, which we'll talk about right now, is think about how you feel after. Because you get this dopamine, right? You see all these people being successful, but how does it leave you feeling after? Have you ever experienced
Yeah,
that?
no, I know exactly what you mean. You feel not. I'm not gonna say
What do you
empty,
feel?
but you feel like you feel down, and it's a combination. I mean, that's how I interpreted and for myself, but maybe there's more to it. I interpreted it as just kind of like feeling not sad, but bad that you're not there yet. Sometimes it gives for me. Sometimes it gave me motivation, but other times like damn, like would have been nice, or. But I know what you're trying to say, and I totally agree. Like you feel down, and I assume that has something to do with like ups and downs of dopamine because I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. Andrew Huberman has a really good podcast explaining how it actually works. Think of it kind of like a pool that you have to keep filling up. That's how your dopamine works. You do things every day that drain your dopamine, like working, putting in effort, doing difficult things, talking to people, your stress. Your dopamine slowly runs low and low. And you want to keep doing things that will bring it back up again to keep you feeling driven, joyful, and happy, right? If you end up doing more things that drain your dopamine, more stressful things, and you're not having any fun in your life or not doing any meaningful things, obviously the water's going to run out and you're going to feel empty. Now, what happens is because we get very quick and cheap dopamine that we don't really work hard for, our dopamine is constantly going up. Things like the social media you mentioned, eating junk food, drugs, alcohol, watching porn. All of these things make your dopamine go up. Even getting a notification from your phone, dopamine goes up, dopamine goes up. If you're constantly engaging in these kinds of activities multiple times a day, what happens is normally we all have a baseline level of dopamine. Well, your baseline is now constantly artificially elevated, constantly up, up, up. But what happens, again, like you mentioned before, you feel empty, so it ends up dropping down below your normal baseline, and that's when you feel empty, quite literally.
So it goes further back
Funny
down
enough.
than where you started.
Exactly. And this is also how drugs work. For example, I think it was heroin is the most addictive drug. This is a really big relationship with addiction as well. Heroin is the most addictive one. Yet cocaine spikes your dopamine levels something like 300 or 400% above your baseline. Well, what happens after is a massive crash that's as big, if not bigger, and that's why you feel so empty after. And what happens? You crave it again because you want to feel that high again, and that's how you get addicted. Very simply put. And in a little bit, we'll talk about why it's important to work hard for your dopamine. And I'll give you another example to counteract that. But essentially, all these daily activities that are so incorporated into modern life, by constantly engaging in them, your dopamine levels drop below your baseline, and that's when you feel empty. And then comes the point where normal everyday activities like reading a book, playing some chess, going for a walk, talking with a friend, you don't really get any pleasure from it
Yeah,
anymore.
they
It
they
feels
are
dull.
dull. Yeah, I know. I thankfully haven't gotten to that point in my life, but I totally understand what you mean. I remember back in the
Have you ever
day,
had it? Have you ever had it?
not to the point where I wouldn't go out or I wouldn't like, enjoy spending some time with friends. But I feel like I managed to, although of course I indulged in a lot of dopamine, video games, uh, social media. By the way, social media. Right now, I'm doing this thing where I'm don't have any social media on my phone, which honestly has given me a lot of time back, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But I've had times where I played video games for hours, and we played video games together for hours.
Hey,
And
some Apex Legends, man. Gotta
yeah,
do it.
yeah. But even in person, we were doing some things where we actually combined that. Like we would back in school, we would get all together in a room and play video games, but all four at the same time. And those kinds of things, I can see how sometimes when I wasn't feeling pretty good, maybe that was dopamine, maybe it was other things, I would have rather just do that. Saturday, I've spent Saturday evenings, nights at home, just playing a video game instead of maybe going out or maybe doing something else. But thankfully, hasn't gotten to a point where it was, weeks of not wanting to hang out or like not really, wanting any kind of social interactions or anything like that. Thankfully, that hasn't happened, but I definitely have had moments where I felt, yeah, not very social, not wanting to do a lot of things, and yeah, definitely wasn't reading books when I was playing video games. That's 100% true.
Definitely not. That's the last thing you do. But it's really good to hear. It sounds like you were able to cut yourself off very quickly before entering this downward spiral or this endless loop that a lot of people get caught up in.
I did,
And
yeah.
you,
And with
what do you think helped you get out?
well, I don't want to over say that I've done something more than I've done. Like I don't think I got out of a bad situation. I think I managed to keep myself from not getting into bad
You prevented
situation.
it, yeah.
I prevented it, yeah. But not on purpose. I wasn't thinking about it that way back when I was, indulging in those things more. But I think what helped me the most was having other things in my life outside of this digital world that gave me other forms of dopamine, gave me other forms of purpose and goals and all these things. So, as I've already mentioned a lot of times, I've had basketball all my life. I still do. So I would play video games, but it was playing video games between working out. There you go. Between working out and then having basketball practice in the evening. So my video game, I would kind of like play it like, oh, it's my rest, my recovery time between trainings. Can't do much else. I can't go work at a bar or something in the meantime. So I'll just play video games. It was an excuse for sure, but the good thing was that I had something to do afterwards. I had games on the weekends or during the week, depending on what I was doing. But that was one thing. And then through that, I managed to stay afloat enough to build other kind of goals and purpose. So I feel that's the main thing. Even if I wasn't doing anything to optimize my dopamine, I wasn't doing anything like that up until very recently. Still, I was able to have a pretty good life and achieve goals and do things that for sure I would have been doing a lot better and faster if I had regulated my dopamine and knew about all these things. But having anything outside of all these, all this cheap dopamine, having anything outside of that you are truly interested in, passionate about, and gives you a sense of purpose, I believe will save you nine out of 10 times.
Yeah. So having a mission, hobby, interest, job, a broader purpose other than only playing video games.
But that
really
purpose
helped you not get caught into that spiral.
Yes, exactly. But you mentioned job, and I wanted to add to that purpose should be like something that you actually want to do, something that drives you, that in one way or another it gives you that some kind of reward. So you get that dopamine from there as well. Because if it's just work and you have that outside of playing video games, you're gonna finish work when you hate it and then go straight to playing video games, and that's not gonna do a lot of good. And I'm not trying to say that's bad, but if you're not doing anything too meaningful during your 8 hours of work, then you're not gonna have a lot of opportunities to build yourself up if you're just working and playing video games.
Well, it sounds like you used video games in the way I think you should use them. I don't think we should say never play video games, but if it's, maybe after a long day, play for an hour or so to decompress, I think that's fine. I don't think that's going to hurt you a lot. So I think you use that quite well, actually. And about what you just said regarding work, yeah, if you do something you don't enjoy, it's just going to drain your dopamine, right? So that's just going to have you feeling empty after. And then you're going to play video games, you're going to get that fake spike super easily because you're not really working, and then it's going to drop after and you'll feel empty.
But at some point, I feel like you break out of that cycle, you break out of that chain, and then you look back, at least that was what I did. And I don't believe video games, messed up my life in any way. I do believe they're good. I still have it, right? It's actually right here. I still have an Xbox. I'm not playing anymore because I don't have time, but because I have prioritized other things. If at some point, some time opened up, I would probably, pick up the controller, play. But I feel that if you look back and you've done this like abuse of video games, we're saying video games, but this also applies to social media. You look back and you'll say, I've spent so much time doing these things. Like, what if I had spent, out of those thousands of hours, a few of them doing something, learning something. I could learn a language. You could do so many things, and you're not going to be super productive all the time. But if you're spending 3-4 hours a day on social media or anything, any vice like that, make it two and spend one of those 2 extra hours, doing something more productive. And I believe it will be a much better trade-off. You don't have to give it up completely. You can just also think like your life is a video game and you're, building yourself up.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir here, man. Unfortunately, I did used to game for like 8, 9, 10 hours a day at some point. Definitely regret that. We will talk about video games more in depth on a different episode. That'd be interesting, I think. The important thing when it comes to dopamine, as we said here, the main link is effort, how much effort you put in. If it's very cheap and quick and you don't put any effort into it, your brain gets trained to look for it. It's just like the gym. Your body will look for the path of least resistance. If you try to go into a squat and you don't have enough ankle mobility, you're going to compensate from your hips because that's easier. Well, if your brain learns that, hey, I can get all this, I can feel so good just by, social media, playing video games, opening certain websites and watching porn, then it's going to get trained to do that, and it's going to start craving it more and more, and that's how you get caught up in a cycle. Whereas on the contrary, dopamine released after effort strengthens those circuits in your brain. So, and those are going to be the circuits that reinforce drive, grit, delayed gratification, things like that. Remember last summer we were in Mani in the south of Greece. We hiked up a mountain, and then after we went, we had like a nice meal, right? How did that feel compared? What do you think would have happened if we hadn't done that?
I mean, I genuinely, I remember when we went up that mountain and, we went up there and first of all, it was a different experience. We saw the cloud. Yeah, we were in the cloud. We didn't see the view, which is literally what we went up there for. But we still we were in the cloud, which was a unique experience in itself. Then when we came down, we had that meal, and then we were sitting down and we were like, you felt accomplished. I felt good. I was like, this is peak experience. This is like, we're only here for 3 days or 2 days or however much was it, and it felt like, we had done something really good, something that if I had spent 5 days there, but not doing anything, not doing those things, I don't think I would have felt that good.
Yeah.
It is a mindset shift, though. It is, some people are not going to have that.
But the rest of the day just feels so much better. The food you eat feels so much better.
I know, but I've had people come up there, honestly, and they loved it, right? Sorry, but I've had also, not maybe in less stimulating environments, but I've had people where we went on a hike, we went somewhere, and then they kept complaining about the fact that it was 45 minutes of walking, and then 45 minutes back, and then it wasn't so crazy, and I feel like this is kind of like a mindset shift that you're gonna have to do regardless of that, because if you only focus on those things, then it's like you're not gonna allow yourself to get that benefit, at least not 100%. Because I can get up there and then only focus on, oh my God, it took me 40 minutes of pure uphill, climbing the rocks to come up here, to not even see the view. It's cold, but it's July, and now I have to go all the way back, and oh my God, I'm sweaty. Like, imagine if I had said all those things. I don't think I would have actually, appreciated it.
No, and that's a prime example of, I would say, a brain that is addicted to quick gratification, quick stimulation, and as soon as you need to put in effort, it's completely foreign to your body. You're just like, what's going on? This is terrible. I hate this. And this is why it's so important to do hard things. If you do not seek out pain and discomfort yourself, pain will make its way to you, and it will find you later in life through sickness, physical pain, financial pain, whatever it might be.
Yeah, you make a
And
sacrifice
it's
in a
been
way.
exactly, and it's been scientifically proven that, for example, when you start getting your gratification or when you start doing hard things like, pushing through a tough workout, building a business, finishing a tough project at work, your brain will link the pleasure you get with that progress. So you will start enjoying seeing the progress. You will start enjoying the process, and you will get addicted, quote, to that growth. And that's how you also make it more sustainable for yourself, because you start enjoying the grind and the work you need to put in for it.
It's like the gym, right? I feel like a lot of people, that's the easiest example for a lot of people to understand. And you go to the gym, and initially you're thinking, oh, I hate this, I don't like this. And then you do it enough, you get enough results, and all of a sudden it becomes a part of your life. Like I went to London last week, and he also went to London like right after me. But
You should stay one day.
yeah, and I was there, and my first question, my first like thing to make sure I had sorted out when I was making the travel arrangements was, where's the gym going to be? And it was arranged that I had a hotel with a gym, and every morning I would wake up, go to the gym, eat the breakfast, and then go for work.
And
I
then
was
you go.
honestly like, now it's a part of who I am, and of course, not, I don't want to work out every time, but I force myself just a little bit to do it, and then I do it. But I can't think of a week that I won't go to the gym, or won't do something active. If I don't do something active for a week, it's going to be a problem mentally, and not physically probably, but mentally.
These are also the things that keep your dopamine levels high, and the drop is a lot more, what's it called? Like it's not as
Gradual.
steep, right? It's slower. It's a lot more gradual. Thank you. For example, I told you how cocaine spikes your baseline dopamine 3, 4, 100%, and then massive spike followed after, right? Or a massive drop followed after. Well, fun enough, this is one of the reasons why they advise cold plunges and why they do so many wonderful things to boost your mood. This is why Wim Hof is preaching that, and talks about how it helped him get over his depression. Because cold plunges, funny enough, they've shown to increase your dopamine levels also by about 300% above baseline dopamine levels, which is insane. So almost the same as cocaine, only now the difference being the drop is a lot more gradual. So your mood stays a lot more stable the
Do
rest of
they?
the day,
But do
and
they
you're
also
not
like
followed by
go
that crash.
far below like baseline, or?
No, exactly. So it doesn't go as deep, and it's a lot slower as well.
Because I remember listening, like hearing that, but of course, I couldn't understand why that happens. But the fact that maybe it's connected to the fact that you have to, when you do something that's hard and you get that reward, then you also have like the baseline. I think Huberman has mentioned it at some point. Like the baseline also, like of you raise your baseline dopamine as well, and
Yes, and also think with cocaine, what do? You do that.
yeah, you do nothing
Hey, I never done it. I've seen it.
from the
But
movies.
exactly, movies, parties, that. But with the cold plunge, you're like a minute, 5 minutes before you go in there, you're like, fuck,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
do
do
this.
that.
Like, I don't want to get in there. And then even while doing it, you're like, shit, okay, this is terrible, right? And that seems to be the key differentiator there. The amount of work you put in.
Yeah, that would make sense. Why, you know, me with basketball, it's addictive. But and then when you win a game, when you become better, when you do those things, like that reward, it's it's a reward. But then it makes you like love the game more, love the process of getting better. Like then you say, okay, I won the championship. Now I want to become better because I want to make sure next year I do it again. And then you become a better player. But it doesn't work the
You
same
get
way.
addicted.
Yeah,
You get addicted to the progress.
yeah. But it doesn't work the same way with scrolling on TikTok and everything. And
Unfortunately,
I
not.
wanted to mention this. I don't know if you want to talk about social media a bit now, but I wanted to mention that I don't know if you see this, if you have this image in your head, and this is not meant to attack anybody, but because I guarantee that at some point that was me too. And I see a lot of people where every chance they get, they're gonna open up their phone and scroll, right? And that to me now when I look at it, it feels so bad because it's like it's this view of like I can it's like I can see their brain like not shutting off but like disconnecting, and then all I see is this, and then I just hear random, and then I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking like when I see that I was like this is overstimulation. It's like all these different noises, there's different movements on the screen. It's like imagine that has to fry your brain. That's insane.
It's terrible, man. And it's been, I was at that point myself. It's better. I have to say it's still a struggle because I used to tell myself that, oh, I use social media for work. I get clients through Instagram. I do social media, I make content. So I used to tell myself the excuses, oh, I need to be on it constantly, right? And little by little, before you know it, as soon as you're not talking to someone or you have a second, you're sitting at the bus stop, or as soon as I get off my scooter here, I'll pull out my phone and check the time, maybe open social media. And I had to really catch myself. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you don't need to check that. But that's the thing, you get addicted, you can't control it, right? And luckily now it's a lot better, but only because I had to be very disciplined in setting a few rules for myself. And that's also, I think, good to discuss now. What are a few actionable steps? Like, it's good, maybe you're in a bad spiral right now. You couldn't have controlled it so far, but there's plenty of things that you can do about it to change it. So we can get into that right now. And the one thing I want to say, what worked wonders for the phone, maybe you've tried it, grayscale mode. You know that?
Yeah, you told me that, and I tried it. Where you put your phone in grayscale, so it's like very, like it's not so pleasing to look at, so you don't.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, you don't want to watch videos on black and white, like it's like 1960s or whatever.
It's like it's the first time you put that on, you realize you're disgusted. You don't want to look at your phone. You're like, oh, what is this? And that's the first time I realized how much just all the colors on the phone are asking for your attention.
Yeah, they're stimulating your brain and everything. And honestly, that's a great tip, right? I set up an automation on my iPhone. I don't know how it would work on an Android, but it's like whenever I put it on,
Have an Android, just get iPhone.
yeah, that's also the case. But if you have an iPhone, you can make an automation. So every time, like after 9:30 p.m., my phone like automatically goes on sleep mode, right? And then you don't get notifications. The wallpaper goes black, very quiet, night shift and all that. But I've also added to that to make it even more like easy to look at if I have to look at something, to also activate the grayscale mode, because you can make an automation. It's a little bit like it's kind of like a little bit like a, no code coding, where it's like you say, if that happens, you put it on, if you go to automations, you'll see it very easy. And then it activates that. So I did it initially. I don't have any social media on my phone, so I don't have that issue, but it's easy because it just makes the phone like zero color, zero blue light. There's nothing there. So it's very easy to be able to look at your phone if you have to, like send a message or do something, and right before you sleep, and then be able to sleep without any issues. That's why I did it. I took the idea from you. For social media, it works. You don't want to look at it.
So you did that through the automations app on iPhone, yeah?
You set up an automation. So every time the sleep mode is activated, grayscale is also activated.
You grayscale. Excellent. And if you don't have that automation, you can just go into settings and
display.
Just do it
yourself. Yeah.
And
it's a few clicks. Yeah. But yeah, the other thing, as I mentioned, for me, that's worked wonders is social media. I was never I don't believe by the average that I was too addicted to it, right? My screen time was about an hour of Instagram, right? And that hour you would have to also consider 20 minutes, I would say, of that was talking to people. We have, I had some chats that I would respond to people like on a daily basis. And I would assume the other 40 minutes, whatever it would be like scrolling, sending memes and all that kind of stuff that you do on Instagram, and just deleting the app from my phone, getting rid of all social media. I I also deleted my social media account, like my personal one. I have a different one that I'm just using for posting and everything, but my personal one was with all the people, all the memes and all that. I deleted that. I deactivated it, so I don't have access to it. But I would suggest if you
Nice.
don't want to do that, if you still want, for some reason, you have a lot of people you want to talk to there or whatever, my personal advice would be to just increase friction. So delete it from your phone, but be able to access it from your computer. Being on Instagram on your computer is so boring and uncomfortable that you won't want to do it so much. So don't deactivate it, just remove
Yeah.
it from your phone. And every time you're at work and you have access to your computer or in the morning or something, you can check it, respond to messages. That would be a very easy uh, trick. And after a week for me, it was great. It took me a week to be like, what am I doing on my phone? Like I'm usually doing something. What's going on? After a week, I was fine.
That's awesome. That's a really, really good tip. And obviously in everything, takes a bit of effort. There's some discipline involved, but I think once you get past the main hurdle, probably the first 1 or 2 days, then it gets a lot easier.
Well, I don't remember who said that, but there is this saying that, not saying, but there is this framework that you want to follow that is whatever you want to do more of, remove friction, and whatever you want to do less of, increase friction.
Increase friction.
So
Good
if
one.
you just
Nice.
follow this principle, you say, I don't want to eat sweets. I'm going to not have sweets in my fridge. That's it. You can still get them delivered, like go out and grab them. But if you're sitting on the couch and you're like, oh, I really use a sweet right now, and you don't have anything at you, it's less likely that you will actually get out and go grab it. And if
Yeah.
you have to do more of something, like, I don't know, study or whatever it is, like have the book ready. Like if you want to study, if you want to read before bed, have the book by your bed, with the light ready and easy for you to turn off, turn on, whatever, and just know that I'm picking it up, reading 5 minutes, turning it off, closing and turning off the light. Very easy.
Yeah.
So increase friction,
Awesome.
remove friction for whatever you want to do less and more of.
That's really, really good tip. So there's already with the grayscale mode and also deleting the apps and what you just explained, you already have a few steps you can implement right away.
Very easy steps. Very simple. Not easy necessarily.
Very simple. Right. Excuse me. It's not always easy, but it is pretty simple. And you've probably heard of a dopamine reset. There's things that are a bit more common that you hear that are a bit more obvious as well, like stop all the mindless doom scrolling, limit the junk food, of course, don't watch corn, and add in, so you want to take away all these quick, cheap dopamine sources, maybe delete social media, it's way better, and actually delete your account, or deactivate your account like you did, rather than just uninstalling the app, because usually you'll just reinstall it. And also adding in some more effort-based activities like training, right? Pick up a new sport, go for a hike, go for a walk outside, cold plunges, cold showers, anything that requires effort. Starting, working on a business, anything like that. Is there any other tip you have or any other activity you would suggest?
Honestly, I think there's no single activity, but I would say that removing those kinds of things like social media, as everything that you said, and food as well, because food and dopamine is also connected. You eat junk food all the time, your dopamine increases and all that. So just make simplify your life in a lot of areas, so you can actually reset your dopamine to a level where it's more where it's easier to enjoy simple things. So for a month, don't eat junk food. You're not gonna have any problems with not eating junk food, and just eat super bland foods. Keep it simple. Eat chicken and rice, steamed veggies or whatever. Keep it very simple, and slowly you're gonna start being able to just enjoy that. You're gonna get back from needing a bunch of
Your
sauces.
food palate will adapt.
Yeah, you will adapt. I remember myself, I really liked sweets and everything. I removed all the sweets from my diet, and then I was able to really, really enjoy just having yogurt and honey and that was my dessert, because I had an issue when I was
It
younger.
became your sweet.
Yeah, I had an issue when I was younger. I was getting dessert all the time, and then I said, I was still like in school. I was still with my parents, and I was like, hey, no more dessert at the house. I'm not eating anything except for yogurt and honey. And yogurt and honey became my dessert, and I was not touching anything. No waffles, no anything like that. And just bring it back down. Say that you're gonna read a book. I know it's disgusting to when you're used to like doom scrolling all the time, then going to a slow book. I feel that. But say that phone goes away, it doesn't have any social media, and you're reading 5 minutes. Just read 5 minutes, nothing else. Have the timer so you can see it. Like, dull down your life so you can enjoy things more. That is the main thing. Of course, everything you mentioned, that's like a very specific, but like overall, dull down your life. That would give you, I believe, the best results.
Exactly. And it's gonna, again, at first it's gonna feel dull, but like you said, at some point you will adapt. The things that once felt dull now will feel a lot more invigorating and refreshing to do.
Yeah, and it will be a part of who you are and what you do. Like,
Exactly.
like I said, with social media. So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say the last one I wanted to add that I maybe doesn't get also talked about enough online because it might be a bit embarrassing for guys is masturbation, especially frequent masturbation. I'm talking like multiple times a day, but like every time you have an orgasm, both men and women, your dopamine just drops rapidly. Yeah, and we've all felt it. You don't want to do anything after, right? You feel lethargic. And what's more, also prolactin increases, which is a different hormone, which can cause also some more brain fog, more fatigue. And once prolactin increases, it can suppress your dopamine even further. So you're getting a double whammy effect there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, first of all, yeah, I've talked to a lot of guys, and I know, like, I've gotten a lot of different views, and to my surprise, I've seen like views that for me they were very like they felt like extreme, you know, like to the point like how much somebody is indulging into that and how much. And I believe one of the main things for that is, what do we have to say corn instead of
Corn.
corn? Okay, yeah, we don't say it.
Corn.
I don't want to get any trouble. But yeah, one of the things that just,
we don't want the video to get flagged.
yeah, you just see, you know, these videos online and the stimulation from that and the stimulation from the orgasm, and then all of that just creates something that it's just impossible to not be addicted to. And not only that, you see all those things on video, and then you are destroying like sex for you, right? You're destroying like when you're getting intimate with somebody, and most likely it's not going to be what two professionals and two actors are doing on screen. And then you have issues on the other side. And I want to kind of like close this subject with that. I've heard women talking about like men having issues with like actually being able to perform in bed. And that's kind of like the next step. If you see all those things and you're like, this is what you should be doing, and you're not going to do that, the next time you are about to have sex, you're going to be thinking, I can't perform that well. I don't want to do it. I'm going to be embarrassed. Yeah. So all these things, like just get rid of it. And honestly, the person who expects you to do whatever, with the right person, you're going to be able to figure it out and develop like a connection there, instead of like trying to just follow this imaginary life that you see online, both on social media and then in private as well, from those things. So yeah, I don't think anybody would want to indulge into that multiple times and frequently if it wasn't for those videos. So just like cut those videos out. If you still want to do it multiple times a day, then I don't know.
Well, you've already increased the friction, like you said.
You already increased the friction, right? Yeah, and then it's like at that point, if you still want to do it multiple times, it's like the dopamine hit is not going to be as high because you don't get the video dopamine hit. So there are all these layers that you can have, and it will make everything much better.
Yeah. Well, very, very well said. In summary, if you feel like you're not motivated, you want to change your life, you want to get in better shape, you want to do something better in your career, but you just cannot seem to get motivated, it might not be that you're lazy. It might be, if anything of this resonates, it might just be that your dopamine is just completely messed up. You're completely messed up your brain. But the good news is that by implementing the things we talked about, you can actually reverse this quite quickly. So, some experts even say up to even within 2 days, you could sort of reset your dopamine baseline. So that's the good news. And what I want to close off with personally is motivation is not just gonna come to you. Yeah, it's not just gonna fall down a tree like an apple on your head. Boom, you're motivated. It's not gonna happen. You have to really create it for yourself and go after it. And once you start getting rid of all these quick, cheap sources, adding in some more effort-based activities in your life, I promise you very quickly things will start to change and you will build up that momentum that you've been looking for.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. And yeah, guys, go outside, do some more basic things, and you'll see the benefits immediately.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Until next time.
Until next time.